What's going on? It's your boy Bowie here, aka the Sub Scientist, aka the premier glaciologist. So, as you can guess, this is yet another video about Sub-Zero. And what I'd like to do is I'd like to give a comprehensive gameplay guide for Sub-Zero. Not talking about his best strings or, his combos or anything like that. But I want to debut what I feel is Sub-Zero's comprehensive corner game, which I will here and thereafter refer to as the Cryogenic Chamber. And so, what is the Cryogenic Chamber? So the Cryogenic Chamber is basically Sub's entire corner game, which is comprised of the multiple pieces of tech that I and other Sub-Zero players have come up with over the past couple years. Okay. And this chamber did not exist before this clone got buffed. Because this clone is active for 100 frames, this gives us so much more freedom than what we used to have. Because this clone lasts for 4 seconds, aka 240 frames, this gives us even more freedom to play with. And of course we do have the triple clone, which is more useful than it ever has been. And we have the side switching clone, which also, or side switching slide, I should say, sorry. That gives us extra utility. So, let me first talk about what Sub-Zero should be doing. So, when you play Sub-Zero, you're going to be in the mid-screen. And Sub-Zero is at his best when he's controlling the screen with a combination of cameo projectiles, ice punches, and all such things as that. Clone, deadly vapors, things of that nature. His goal is to frustrate the shit out of the opponent before they even get to him, because his normals leave quite a bit to be desired. Now, he has some good ones like stand 2. Forward 1 is pretty decent. Matter of fact, the whole forward 1-2 string is a pretty decent string. But this is slower than it needs to be, and it gets low profiled at times. And this string is full of gaps, right? But it is his best neutral button because it hits people from out here, you see. And so Sub-Zero is not really designed to be here trying to mix people to death, jumping in, doing all that kind of stuff. So many Sub-Zero players I've witnessed try to use him the way he was played in MK11 and MKX, and I think this is a mistake, because as much as you will hit people with mix, you will also get people that will block your mix, and then they'll kill you, And so you want to try to use your mix sparingly. No, Sub-Zero is much more equipped for holding it down mid-screen. And if you don't believe me, just watch gameplay from Can't Stop the Train. Okay? Check out any recent tournament set from him, whether it's Champion of the Realms, Rips Arena, or just random sets. He epitomizes what Sub-Zero should be doing in that mid-screen. Train will be out here or over here, and he'll just bully the opponent with projectiles, And not because that's how he's going to win the whole match, but because it makes the opponent understand that they can't just be out here against Sub. They have to try to go in where they get trapped, So that's one of the things, that's one of the first pieces of information I wanted to get out to, Sub players, is that, hey, mix is good, but screen control is better. And this character is much better at controlling the screen than he is at legitimately mixing people, unless he has specific cameos like Chameleon or perhaps even Sonya. But Sonya doesn't even really provide real mix, it's bootleg, but people still get hit with it anyway, so it is what it is. So Sub-Zero really plays out here, you know. But thanks to his new buffs, Sub-Zero is much more of a corner specialist than he has ever been. And that's where the cryogenic chamber comes into play. But in order for us to use this chamber, we have to hit the opponent first. And when we get our hit confirmed, it doesn't matter what cameo we're using, I heavily advise you to avoid this. You see how I use Clone in a combo there? See, Clone has a longer cooldown now. And because of this longer cooldown, if we use Clone in our combo, we can't then turn around and use Clone to trap people in the corner. Not unless we spend a whole bunch of resource. And so my suggestion is, when you get your hit confirmed, use any combo that will carry your opponent to the corner that does not use the ice clone. Okay? I don't know why I'm dropping. Probably because I haven't used this controller in a while. So with Serena, that's my premier combo. Notice they are in the corner. They've lost almost 40% health. And I'm right in front of their face with the ability to put out a clone. Okay? And so that's what you want to do. Bring their ass to the corner so that you can poop out a clone right in front of them. Right? Now, as far as the clone is concerned, you do have enough time to do slide into clone. This is plus 15 on hit. Clone starts up in 9 frames. So they have 6 frames to try to jab you, of course, or try to... well, you have 6 frames of advantage, I should say, before you can even do this. Now, of course, the opponent can and will use any kind of wake-up attack and blow that setup up. So if you know, if I set Smoke to get up with his... what is his... what's his... is it Vicious Favors? Let's see. Is this the move? No, that's not it. Smoke Bomb? Is that it? No, I don't think so. Oh, it is that. Okay. So if I do this... oh, well, Smoke's not a good example because his armor's trash. But, so any other character is going to be able to use their armor attack to blow that up. Okay? So, what's the chamber? So the chamber is using our clone to keep the opponent in that corner. Okay? And the start of that is, well, yeah, I guess my start will be knowing which strings we can cancel into clone from and which ones we can't. Now, bear in mind, the opponent can armor through all of this. And this brings me to a very important point because I want to head off any naysayers and detractors right now. Nothing that I'm about to debut in this video here, or about to show in this video, is anything that the opponent can't counter. There are counters everywhere. There are universal counters to this that any opponent can do. There are character-specific counters that specific characters can do. All of this has counter play. So people that are tempted to go in the comments and be like, oh, well, can't the opponent just... Yes. Yes. The opponent can do blah to counter particular options. However, it is the cryogenic chamber. That means that since we are using our resident cryomancer Sub-Zero here, all these setups are in Sub-Zero's favor, even if the opponent can counter them. And so On our behalf, we have to be smarter than the opponent. We have to read the opponent. We have to not go into autopilot. And we have to tailor our corner game plan to the habits of the particular opponent that you're fighting. Okay? And that's going to come into play more as I get into the discussion later on. Okay? But anyway, so as I was saying, strings into clone. Obviously, any string you do into clone is a risk because the opponent can always armor out. But opponents are not going to armor through every single thing that you do. You will be able to do this sometimes, do this sometimes, do this sometimes. Okay? So, anyone pretending as though you could never cancel into clone is just being wholly ignorant of what actually happens in matches. Okay? But here's the thing. As I've gone over in multiple videos, not every string is a viable clone cancel with every character. So there's a list of characters that Sub-Zero cannot use forward 1-2 clone on block. So before I get into that, what are Sub-Zero's viable clone cancels? So Sub-Zero, technically he could do 1-2 clone on block against people. Don't know why he'd do that. Don't really know. But if you really had to, you could, right? But overall, Sub-Zero's most reliable clone cancel, well, not most reliable, Sub-Zero's safest clone cancel, and I put an asterisk on this, is forward 1-2. Why? Because forward 1-2 has no gap in it. There's no gap for the armor, for the opponent to armor through. Plus, this hits mid. So after a slide, oh, the opponent's gonna block. Never mind. Let me see. So after a knockdown, notice that I was able even to break Smoke's armor with this. You know what I'm saying? Oh Lord. But yeah, the point is that this is a mid. It's gapless. And so if you can do forward 1-2 clone on block, you probably should. But the problem is about half of the cast can break right through this if they see you do this. And sometimes it'll happen accidentally. So let me demonstrate that. So if I'm just using, let me put the block on all. So if I'm Smoke can just bust right through this. So he can just block it standing and then just low block, or he can low block, high block, and then low again. And this has dangerous consequences for Sub-Zero because Sub-Zero is -12 when that happens. And I think this is no, that's 10 frames. Sub-Zero does not want to be -12 against a character like Smoke. He just doesn't want to be -12, period. You see what I'm saying? So you need to know which characters you can safely use forward 1-2 clone on and which ones you can't. Now, what is the exception? The exception to this is if the opponent... Oh, are they going to do... I got to do stance hold, sorry. So if the opponent is low blocking, then you can do forward 1-2 clone, and the opponent can't break out of it. Nobody can break out of it. Break out of the clone, or break out of forward 1-2 clone on block if they low block the entire thing. Okay? So if your opponent is low blocking everything, they can't get out of that. And let me demonstrate that right now. So notice Smoke was easily able to break this before by stand blocking. And as you can see, you'll notice that when the opponent crouch blocks, the ice clone's not as close to them as it is before. When they stand block, the hitbox is smaller. Whereas when they crouch block, it's bigger. So the clone is physically further back. And this is what causes the breaking. Okay? So we have to be keenly aware as Sub-Zero players which characters we can use forward 1-2 clone on block against and which ones we cannot. Let me show y'all that list right now. So this is the list of characters that you can and cannot use forward 1-2 clone on block against. Okay? It's very simple. The characters in the left column, they break the clone when you do forward 1-2 clone on block. The ones in the right hand column do not break the clone. Okay? Now, you'll notice that the right column has one more character than the left column does, meaning that over half of the cast can't do anything about Sub-Zero doing forward 1-2 clone on block. And that is true. And some of those characters are pretty heavy hitters in some of our most aggravating matches. Characters like Reiko, characters like Liu Kang, Reptile, Johnny Cage, characters like Omni-Man and Havoc. You know, those characters can be quite irritating to fight against. So it's good to know that we can trap them behind forward 1-2 clone. If they decide not to armor, of course. And then we have characters on the left who do break the clone. You'll notice that hopefully you'll notice that the majority of female characters in this game break the clone. So the general rule of thumb is if you're fighting a girl, she's going to break forward 1-2 clone. The only exceptions to that are Sector and Li Mei. So Sector and Li Mei actually do get trapped behind forward 1-2 clone, but every other woman in this game is going to break through that clone. So you may as well not even use forward 1-2 clone against a woman unless she's low blocking. Now, you'll also notice that Cyrax, Kitana, and Scorpion have these stars around them. And I put those stars there because they have to break the clone in a atypical manner. Cyrax and Scorpion have to block low first, then high, and then low in order to break the clone. Kitana just has a very strange hitbox where she's just super close to the clone no matter what she does. And so all she has to do is quickly release block and press block again in order to break the clone. But if she doesn't do that, she gets trapped behind the clone very badly. Okay? But other than that, you should not use forward 1-2 clone against any of these characters right here. So make sure you know that. So against these characters like Smoke, who as you saw is one of the ones that breaks forward 1-2 clone, what does Sub-Zero do against these characters? What string can he use in order to keep them trapped behind a string? Oh Lord. Let me stand block and actually do stance hold. What does Sub-Zero do to keep these characters trapped? Well, Sub-Zero can do several things. Sub-Zero can do 2-1 clone. 2-1 clone pushes the opponent just slightly further back than forward 1-2 clone. And it turns out that extra space allows him to trap all but 2 characters in the game. So, whereas forward 1-2 clone doesn't work on half of the cast, 2-1 clone works on everybody except for Quan Chi and Rain. So he can just do that. He can also do stand 2 clone as well. If you don't want to do this entire string, you can do stand 2 clone. And it'll keep you at the exact same distance as 2-1 clone does. Actually, slightly closer. And let me see. I want to demonstrate that. Okay. Oh. I keep forgetting. See? Notice smoke can't break out of this at all. And then let me do stand 2 clone. Same thing. And you'll notice that when the opponent low blocks, the clone is even further back. You see? So Sub-Zero can do those things. And then he can do a tertiary option that works universally on everybody. And that's back 3 clone. And that puts people super close. The clone dummy close. Plus it's a single hit. And so it conditions people to block low. Okay. Now, let me see. What is the benefit of doing these things? Well, the opponent can't jump out, for one. They can't attack with a jump kick. If they jump forward, they're frozen. They can jump back, but some opponents will try to jump kick you, and they'll get frozen in that way. And in a lot of cases, they can't use low pokes either. Now, it really depends on the string and the opponent. And it also depends on whether they low blocked the first hit or not. Because notice, if they low block the attack... What the hell? Never mind. You just saw me jab. Yeah, these breathing hitboxes are OD. Okay. Yeah, hitboxes are kind of jank in this game. No lie. But what happens is... a lot of opponents are going to freeze themselves trying to get out of these things. You see what I'm saying? Because they're going to try to attack you, or they're going to get antsy and leap, and they'll get themselves frozen with any luck. You know what I'm saying? And what is the purpose of us knowing these strings and knowing which things we can use and which ones we can't? Well, Sub-Zero has the ability to loop clone situations. So I want you to watch this. Did you notice that? I was able to use low, throw, and overhead in a continuous clone throw loop that was meterless and cameoless. Okay? And so you want to establish that threat. you want to establish to your opponent that, hey, you have to be afraid when I get you in that corner. Because if I put this out, you might get frozen. And if you get frozen, you get fucked up. You know what I'm saying? And so, knowing our options is crucial. Okay? And so you saw that I used 2-1 clone, I used back 3 clone, I use everything. And so 2-1 clone is probably your best overall option because it works on the majority of the cast. Right? And as you can see, I was able to do a combo. Get 15% off of a grab and then set it up again. You see what I'm saying? And so the opponent has to react to this, right? So Sub-Zero is getting a minimum of 15% off of a throw. Of course, with cameos and things like that, this becomes more potent. Oh, hold on. Because all while that's going on, I'm draining meter. You see? If I'm using Serena, that is. And I have another clone set up right in their face. And as you saw, I can do a low into freeze or an overhead into freeze, even though I set it backwards. Now, if you get this situation where Sub is trapped behind clone, well, first you need to understand how that happens. So what happens is, remember the side switching slide that I was telling you about? I did this slide because it makes them airborne quicker. But you can use the regular slide as well, but you got to be faster with it. But if you'll notice, you know, sometimes it just goes away as you try to use it. So that's why, whoops, that's why the side switching slide is better. But if you're going to use that, you have to make sure that you jump over. Because what'll happen is, whoops, my hands are cold as hell because I got ice water in my veins. You have to make sure that you jump over this situation, because you got to jump over, okay? And you have enough time to do a whole jump over, hit an overhead, and then do it again. You see? So you can loop Sub-Zero Ice Clone pressure, setup pressure. Yes, the opponent can get out of this particular set of setups. Yes, they can. They can armor through when you do a string. They can wake up and blow up your string altogether. You know what I'm saying? But this is where other setups come into play. So the first piece of tech that I pioneered a while ago, let me you know, I called this the universal clone setup. You know what I'm saying? And really, you want to use a cameo with this. You really do. So I'm going to use a cameo to extend this, because the extended Yeah, you see that? Because what happened was Sub-Zero's Ice Clone got more cooldown, which complicates things, but we can still trap with it. And so if you're using a cameo like Serena, you can use Serena to extend your combo and do the Universal Clone setup. That setup is completely safe to every wake-up attack in the game. There is not a wake-up attack that an opponent can do that will that is guaranteed to hit Sub-Zero. He can block them all. He can block Johnny Cage's EX Shadow Kick. He can block Nitara. He can block Mileena. He can block any wake-up attack that there is with that Universal Clone setup. Okay? And so that's the safe way to set up an Ice Clone again. Okay? If you're going to use that, let me show you how this loops. So, I'll do this. Well, I didn't mean for him to get frozen like that. Hold on. You see that? And then you go into your loop situation. And so Universal Clone setup will allow you to safely set up an Ice Clone against any character in the game. If they wake up attack, you have enough time to block it. And that's great for us. It's really good. But this is not the only piece of tech that exists. We also have something that I call the Lin Kuei dive, which is when you use 2-1 on block and you use this to set up things. So you can use it to set up a safe jump. You know what I'm saying? So I know Just Measy is a huge proponent of these safe jumps because I see him using them a lot. And so the Lin Kuei dive gives us a safe jump option that's very good, you know. And with this Lin Kuei dive, we have a lot of options. The Lin Kuei dive is very versatile because, you know, we obviously have the room to set up clone in exactly the way that we wish. Hold on. Whoops. But I like using Johnny Cage here because Johnny Cage has the fastest armor attack in the game. Him and General Shao do, actually, because they both have 10-frame armor attacks. But Johnny Cage's is the one that's more worrisome, so notice Johnny Cage is going to get up with EX Shadow Kick. Hold on. I don't even know if this will... Well, I'll just do this instead. So notice, the Lin Kuei dive just allows us to kill armor straight up. You know? Bruh. So armor attacks just can't even happen. You know what I'm saying? They just can't even do armor at all versus us. They just can't do it, you know? So any armor attack they were thinking about doing will get themselves killed. And by the way, let me use the universal clone setup here just to show that that's safe too. See that? That's death. That's the fastest armor attack that a character could think to do against us. And we have enough time to block it and get a full combo punish if we want, you know? So we have several things that we can do. Now, I have not fully labbed everything that I need to lab specifically with the Lin Kuei dive. But we have the means to use a jump attack to set up a clone. You see that? Now, my suspicion is opponents can break out of these. I have not tested that yet. Like, they could probably use some sort of low block combination to break out of that. Probably not Johnny, because Johnny can't even deal with forward 1-2 clone. But I suspect that a character like Rain could just low block and break that. A character like Quan could probably do the same thing. But if you really wanted to go for some shit, you could do that and then get a refreeze into it. You see what I'm saying? So you could do that. You do have that option. Okay? So I just wanted to make that clear that that is a thing that can be done. But the main purpose of the Lin Kuei dive is to armor break. So if you suspect that you're going to get an opponent that's going to wake up with some shit, do the Lin Kuei dive, do kick into freeze, and let him armor break. Also, you can just do this. Also, you know, you can just hit somebody with that shit. You see that? So if you have an opponent that likes to be on the ground and shit, you can do that. And this also works off a jump hit punch as well. Like, I saw a sub player consistently hit Honeybee with that in a match that he uploaded. Like, the opponent was just jumping in and cloning, like, right there. Or he would do, you know what I'm saying? Not to say that you should do that, because I don't advise it, but I'm saying it is possible. Okay? And then, of course, we have the Lin Kuei train. And the Lin Kuei train is very useful because not only does it do a hell of a lot of damage, you're also plus 35 on hit. And this actually can keep you safe against certain wake-ups. I don't think it keeps you safe against Johnny's wake-up, but let's actually test that out. Let me see. Yeah, see? His is too fast. But certain wake-ups like Mileena, like Smoke, like Quan, like Rain, and other characters like that, who normally destroy your other clone setups like this, your Lin Kuei train will actually keep you safe because of the plus frames on that ice punch. Plus, if you're plus 35, you can still armor break with this as well. So you can armor break with this as well. So we have two armor breaking setups with Sub-Zero. We have the Lin Kuei dive and the Lin Kuei train. Now, all of this is predicated on reading your opponent. If your opponent is the type that likes to get up with an armored wake up, that's when you use the dive and the train on them along with the jump kick punt or jump kick clone. If they like to get up in a safe manner, then you don't need to use them. You see what I'm saying? So notice all this tech put together is the cryogenic chamber. And none of it is foolproof. The opponent can escape, but it places them at our mercy. Okay? Now, let me talk more about those clone cancels. And let me talk about what the opponent can do after they after you do a clone cancel. So, your opponent has several options. If you're fighting against someone that can, you know, that you can use F12 Klone on, like Johnny, for instance. Let me have him stand. See, Johnny can't escape that. So you're free to freeze him into these things. And Johnny has an interesting hitbox because you see how he moves back? You see how he's holding back when he blocks? That means you can put the clone dummy close to him. You know what I'm saying? And so he's very interesting in that way. You see what I'm saying? But what happens is your opponent is either going to stay not moving, which is good for us because we can then, you know, do combos on him. You know what I'm saying? We can do clone setup combos that allow us to loop the same situation again. Well, unless he wakes up, of course. So let's assume that your opponent is not the type that wants to wake up and he decides he ain't gonna move. You do this, he ain't gonna do shit. Okay. Notice this is a loop situation. And they have to determine what you gonna do. Are you gonna throw or are you gonna low? And those are the two main options, are the low throw. Because the low is 13 frames, the throw is 10. And you want to forward throw them, because forward throwing them brings the opponent closer. You could back throw as well, in this particular instance. And so the opponent just can't tech no matter what the fuck they do. And this used to be hard to get to happen, but as you can see, this is very, very doable. You know what I'm saying? This is very, very doable. Of course, it gets a little bit more interesting when they crouch block, because back throw is not going to work, if I'm not mistaken. You see that? But if you do EX Klone, you actually can use a back throw. And you get a whole goddamn combo from that. Which you can use to set up another clone. So there's that situation. And so this is a really good use for EX Klone. EX Klone gets its own segment of this video because EX Klone is the real MVP. But in general, if your opponent is, hi baby, low blocking, EX Klone is very good. Precisely because the back throw will catch them and throw them right into that shit. And of course I'm going to use the cameo to extend this combo, because why not? You know, I think that's amazing. But if you do the regular clone, you're going to want to forward throw them. And of course this works off of forward, or 2-1 clone, and back 3 clone as well. Nah. Oh, actually, back 3 clone. Oh, yeah, okay, never mind. You just gotta be faster with it, with back 3 clone. What the hell? Yeah. So you gotta be really fast with it if you're gonna use back 3 clone. Because back 3 clone has the most pushback. And so, yeah. Back 3 EX clone also is really good for back throw. Of course, you got to make the most out of that. You see that? So notice, I'm able to loop these things because of how potent clone is now. This whole situation was not possible before because clone lasts for 100 frames and that helps us out so much. You see what I'm saying? And yeah, that really helps us out quite a bit. Now, EX clone. Well, no, before I even get to EX clone, let me talk about something that me and myself and Can't Stop the Train talked about a lot. So he was running into a problem where the opponent would just be fucking hopping. So this is what would happen, because I said that the opponent can do one of two things. They could decide to remain inert, but a lot of opponents are not going to decide to do that. They're going to decide, you not finna just beat me up. Or they might get thrown a couple times or what have you, and then they might decide they going to start trying to fight. So they going to start trying to, they're going to start trying to jump. Now, really, they don't want to do a jump kick. Because if they try to do a jump kick, freeze. You see what I'm saying? They don't want to do that. Let me try something else. Okay. So what if your opponent doesn't let you do your things? Now, this CPU is going to jump as soon as I do anything. But most opponents are going to wait for you to move forward and then they're going to jump, right? What does Sub-Zero do in this situation? Because if I try to grab, I'm a whiff and possibly even get hit. You know what I'm saying? So let me try that. Oh shit. That was interesting. So they still have to be careful because, whoops, the hell? Oh, sorry. They have to still be careful because if they do it too soon, they're going to get frozen by the clone. But let's assume they don't do that. Let's assume they start jumping and stuff like that. What do you do? Well, as certain characters, you don't have to do shit. You know what I'm saying? They'll just get frozen. Because Johnny Cage is so close, if he neutral jumps, he gets frozen straight up and down. So he has to be supremely careful with whatever he decides to do. Let me have him do duck. Now, of course, if he low blocks... Oh, shit, because of the stance. God damn it. Yeah. Yeah, see, he can... Yeah, that's the ideal situation. And so, actually, let me re-record what I want him to do. No, I don't want him to stand, though. Hold on. Yeah, see? Alright, so that's much more realistic. So what does Sub-Zero do in that situation? Well, Sub can do several things. Because what happens is people will do the clone, or you'll do the clone, and then you'll go to try to attack, and the opponent will just start jumping. And you'll whiff, and then you'll get hit, right? It even happened to me against the Baraka player, Noam Chomsky 69, that I showed the other day. What do? Well, Sub does have that. So you can catch the opponent with an ice punch. Right? And notice they don't have to, they just have to survive a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes they'll dodge the punch. Right? And sometimes they'll get hit with the punch and then the clone goes away. But let's say I use the EX clone, you know. You see that? Sometimes that'll happen and they'll avoid it. Sub-Zero has one of the best jump-in punches in the business, Jump 1. And so you can actually anti-air with a 1-2 and knock them right into the clone. You know what I'm saying? And even if it doesn't knock them into the clone, you still have the means to set up another one. Whoops. See that? So you can set up another one right after. You see that? So you can jump and do 2-1. Of course, against certain characters, jumping at them may not be the best idea either. So what can Sub do? Ladies and gentlemen, Sub-Zero was blessed with one of the very best jab normals in the business. And so what Sub can actually do... What the hell? Oh, he got hit? What the hell? Idiot. Oh, I'll just do that. So, and I'm trying to get him to, hold on, because I'm not satisfied with the performance. There we go. He's going to have to constantly jump. Okay. So if you got a character jumping constantly, you can use your stand 2 to catch them. And I'm trying to do it where I catch them in the air. You see that? So if you catch them in the air, you can do stand 2 slide. And even if the stand 2 just catches you by itself, you still have the time to do things. And notice, I was even able to catch them and re-combo their ass. You know what I'm saying? And so, if you're Sub, you can do stand 2, bitch. You know what I'm saying? Now, I need to try this with a character. Let me try this with another character real quick, y'all. So here I have Havoc. So you can do stuff like that. Notice I just used stand 2 in a slide. And that combos. Actually, I need to test that. Let me see something. Okay, that didn't do anything. Okay. Is that a combo? No, I don't think so. Oh, the second hit's a combo. Oh, he's also blocking it. Oh, shit! So, because I'm using Serena, I could just do stand 2 demon. You know what I'm saying? And the demon is gonna cover me. Because it's safe. Of course, it takes a while to come back. So that kind of sucks. Oh. But Havoc has to be careful anyway, because if he's one of the characters that I can use F12 Klone on, and if he tries to jump and attack, he'll get frozen as fuck. So a lot of people will just freeze themselves trying to get out. Now, I know what you're thinking. What if he does that? Right? Let's see what happens. Frozen. That's freeze. So now if I get up too close, I get hit. So you have to be careful with that. But again, stand 2, or that's stand 1. Stand 2, or stand 1. Stand 1's probably just as good for this. But in so many cases, you don't even have to do anything. If you see your opponent thinking that they're going to jump, just put the clone in front of them and see how they react to it. Because they might freeze themselves. A lot of times they will freeze themselves, particularly if they do a jump kick attack. A kick attack will get them frozen all day. So, now that was a special move. What if he just does his jump kick? He got his missile drop kick. Look at that shit. He gets frozen. He can't do it. You see? So he can't use a jump kick attack of any kind. And notice I'm jumping backwards. So needless to say, he can't do neutral jump kick. He certainly can't jump forward either. You see what I'm saying? And so now this is the perfect time to talk about, hold on. I just want him to not do anything right now. So now this is the perfect time to talk about the EX Klone. EX Klone is so good now. It is so good. However, EX Klone has one fatal flaw. And that fatal flaw is it has even more cooldown than the regular clone does. Watch this. So I'm going to just do my regular clone combo. Notice I'm able to do a normal clone right after. I didn't spend any meter. I just did it. Now watch what happens when I do EX Klone. So I did EX Klone. Bruh, sorry. Whoops. I'm gonna do. Notice I can't clone yet. You see that? So EX Klone has one more hit, or one more second of recovery than a regular clone does. So if you're going to use EX Klone, you need to keep that in mind. You will be subject to dealing with one more frame of clone recovery. And so, for some combos, that's not going to affect you at all. Notice, I did regular slide, and then I cloned right after, right? But, let me see something here. If I do my regular stuff, hold on, let me do EX. So I'm going to do EX Klone now. So now I'm going to make some changes. First, I'm going to use F12 Klone to draw it out a little bit. Notice I was able to clone a little bit sooner. So I replaced Stand 4 Klone with F12 Klone. And that allowed me to clone a little bit sooner. But if I just do my F12 Klone after this, notice I'm able to clone right after. And they have to deal. They have to deal with whatever I'm doing. You see what I'm saying? And of course, Havoc can use his armor, but you can make the armor whiff and then just full combo punish him for that, right? So, if you're doing a situation where, you know, let's say you use back 3 EX Klone and you get a freeze, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to extend your corner combo such that you're able to immediately go into a regular clone afterwards. So if for some reason, let's say you got your opponent blocking your shit, they get thrown into that, right? Because I have Serena, it's easy for me. I could just extend that with Serena. And let me see if I can clone right after that. Yeah, see, I can clone right after. If I have to. And this is with EX Klone. And yes, this particular example is set with Serena. But fill in the blank with whatever cameo you have. Other cameos have ways of extending combo times to allow you to get your clone cooldown to happen anyway. You know what I'm saying? But the point of the matter is, EX Klone is very powerful. Because what happens is, after that, you can get your overhead into this clone. Remember how before, let me see, I'm gonna put it on, let's do stance hold. So remember before how I had to use, I had to use the side switching clone? Oh shit, seriously? Interesting. I had to use the side switch clone. At least against Cage I had to. Interesting. Interesting. So that must be something I have to lab further. Maybe because Cage's hitbox is uniquely small, it went away. But with Havoc's and other characters is bigger. Anyway. So, anyway, what I'm getting at is if you get the opponent behind an EX Klone, they're back there for 4 seconds. So you have lots of chances to try to decide what you want to do. You have time to see how your opponent's going to act. So they might decide to jump. In which case, you jump up, or you do stand 2, or you throw your ice punch to counteract, right? Or they could decide to block, in which case you go for your mix, throw, low overhead, yada, yada, yada. You see what I'm saying? Also, while this is happening, if you have Serena, you can have her draining meter this whole time. But if she's draining meter, bear in mind that you got to use back throw. You see what I'm saying? And this is why back 3 clone is so good, because that's what I'm looking for. God damn it. I didn't mean to sweep there. So I have Serena doing things. So notice, I got that opponent drained with the meter, and it's almost back now, and I can do that again. You see what I'm saying? And so that's very potent because of this EX clone. EX clone gives me enough time to let the opponent get drained. And if they're trying to attack, if they attack Serena the wrong way, they might get frozen. Because some people try to hit Serena in order to stop her from draining meter. And that's okay, because if they try that, they might get frozen. Right? So that's something that they have to watch out for. Now, this video is getting very long. And that's because there's a lot to the, cryogenic chamber. But there's one more thing I have to make y'all aware of. And I have to make y'all aware of this because I recently became aware of this after watching back my own match. If you should so happen to hit somebody with forward 1-2, if you hit the opponent with forward 1-2 and then you do a clone, you can actually make the opponent punish themselves if they punish you. Let me explain what I mean. Well, let me show you what I mean before I even explain the shit. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to go to playback. I'm going to go to the recording. Oh, shit, he's blocking. Hold on. Let me stop the block. Oh, okay. No, I want him to do the whole thing. Okay. Hold on. Notice what happened. I tried to punish Sub-Zero for sliding. Hold on. And I got frozen. Let me do it faster. Hold on a second. Did you see that? I tried to punish Sub-Zero for sliding on me. And I had to wait for the clone to go away in order to get the punish. Because if I did it too soon, I actually got frozen. And as a matter of fact, what if I did EX clone? Whoops. Hold on. If the opponent gets hit with forward 2 clone, they'll get frozen if they try to punish a slide. They'll get frozen for trying to punish. They will get frozen. And it doesn't have to be EX clone. It can be regular clone too. Bruh. Hold on a second. Bruh. See? So Sub-Zero actually has a safe slide set up in the corner, which is actually kind of stupid. So do with that what you will. For my part, let me see. I'm trying to see something here. Okay. Oh, no, you don't want to do that. Okay. So I'm thinking that a potential setup for this safe slide situation would be forward 1-2, vapors, and 2 clone. Or 1 clone. Maybe 1 clone. Because if you do 1-2 clone, you'll freeze them. Let me try that. I'm going to test that. This is something I haven't even tried out yet. I'm just testing it out now. Oh, shit. Oh, no. God damn it. Okay. He does get hit from that. Okay. So he can get hit from that. I just wanted to see if that worked. But these are some of the things I test. So if you hit an opponent with a forward 1-2 and do a clone on somebody, any hit that they do, if you hit them with anything afterwards, the clone is so close, they actually just get frozen as hell. Actually, let me test that real quick. Hold on. Should have tested that too. Hold on. No. Bruh. Oh, I took... Bruh. Yeah, so... Ay, ay, ay. So as you can see, Sub-Zero can punish people for trying to punish him. So if you ever get a forward 1-2 hit confirm, you can do a clone right after that. And so maybe if you have certain cameos, you could do something like that. You know. So you... And I don't know why you would want to go for this. Maybe you want the extra damage. You see? Okay, so you do this. Hold on. And then you get stuff like that. And of course, that would lead into another clone setup, because then you could do that again. You see what I'm saying? But what am I showing? I'm showing that Sub has so many options in this corner due to these new clones. You know what I'm saying? And so all of this in totality is what I like to call the cryogenic chamber. And if you are playing Sub-Zero, you need to be placing your opponent in the cryogenic chamber, and you need to make them worried about what the hell you gonna do instead of us being worried about what they're going to do. And he has options that work against every character in the game. Yes, even Quan Chi. Yes, even Rain. Yes, even Sindel. Everybody. Okay? Sub-Zero has some kind of answer for whatever they want to do. It's just up to us to find it. And so, whether that is us using stand 2 clone to catch people that jump, or jump 1-2, or using this, or whatever. whatever people think they want to do, the cryogenic chamber is a chamber of our design. So it favors us as the Sub-Zero player. And as soon as we do a combo, they're already in the chamber. You see that? That lone setup right there put them in the chamber. So you get a hit confirmed. You do your non-clone combo. Bruh, I fucked that up. Because I did stand 3 rather than, you know, back 3. Uh-oh. Now they're in the chamber. Oh, I forgot to mention one thing. I thought the video was over with. It's not over with yet. Sorry. I know this is a long-ass Christmas present. But I forgot to mention something. 2-1 is such a good string to cancel into clones with. You know why? Because even if the opponent delays their wake up, if they delay wake up, they're going to, let me see, let me turn this on. So now the opponent's going to delay wake up, right? So one of the problems is sometimes we'll go to use back 3 clone. They'll do delay wake up and we'll look dumb and we can get punished, right? Now, forward 1-2 might help us get around this. We can use forward 2, but as I just showed you, forward 1-2 doesn't work universally against all characters. Half the cast breaks out of forward 1-2 clone. But 2-1 clone is actually really amazing. You see what I'm saying? Because what we can do is... so we end our combo with slide, right? So we end combo with slide. And then we have a clone that's right in their face. And then they have to deal with whatever we do. You see what I'm saying? And so that's good for us. So anytime we get some kind of knockdown, any combo that we can think of that ends with a slide, we can use forward 1-2 clone just because it's havoc. But off of any combo, 2-1 clone is just going to be your best friend. So 2-1 clone works on delayed wake up. It works on regular wake up as well. So if I turn the delay wake up off, they just get hit with a 2 and they have to deal with that. And as a matter of fact, if I put this on random and I get my knockdown, see that? They have to deal. See? And it's the same timing. And there's a clone in their face. I probably should have put this in the beginning of the video. Because sometimes you'll have opponents that will delay wake up. You see? And then notice, no matter if they delay wake up or not, they have a clone to deal with. So full combo. Clone right in their face. Right in their face. You see that? And you can keep going on like that. And so that's the last thing I wanted to make sure that you guys saw. So yeah, the cryogenic chamber is not one piece of tech. It is a collection, an amalgamation of all the various pieces of Sub-Zero tech that is designed to keep Sub-Zero opponents in the corner trapped behind Ice Clone. And as you can see, this video's long as fuck. Why? Because Sub-Zero has a lot of tech that we have discovered so far as a community of Sub-Zero players. And there's probably more out there waiting to be discovered by you. Do not wait for someone like me or for somebody like Bullets for Breakfast FGC or anybody to discover this tech for you. Get your ass in that lab. Because I am not the only Sub-Zero scientist out here. You all have the chance to be Sub-Zero scientists as well. Learn his frame data. Learn his advantageous situations. Learn his little niche nuances that we can use to benefit us. Don't let me be your sole source of Sub-Zero information, or MK Tom Brady, or anybody, whoever it may be. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, I just wanted to give this video as a Christmas gift to you and all other Sub-Zero players, because it really warms my heart to see people, you know, watching my videos and taking the things that I talk about and applying them in real matches. Like, I loved watching Can't Stop the Trains footage, or watching Arona's footage against somebody in a set where both of them were using forward 1-2 clone or using 2-1 clone and refreezing bitches into that. I love that shit. I love it, you know? Because that's the kind of stuff that will help push this character along. That way somebody will win a tournament or get a top 8 placement in a major with this character. And therefore dispel the notion of him being some sort of hapless damsel character that can't do anything because he's nothing but gimmicks. Sub-Zero does have a shit ton of gimmicks. And you could even go as far as to say that the cryogenic chamber is little more than a series of gimmicks. It's true. But a gimmick is only a gimmick if it doesn't work. If you can actually keep people trapped behind this clone, make them afraid to wake up with armor because you'll break it or you'll block it. If it helps you get wins, how much of a gimmick is it really? MK9 Kitana down one fan cutter was supposed to be a gimmick. Hell, using down one on block was supposed to be a gimmick because all down ones were punishable. But it worked though. I can count the number of people on one hand that punished a down one in MK9. Right? So, how much of a gimmick is it really if it works? And if it's not just one gimmick, but it's like 4 or 5 gimmicks mixed in with legitimate stuff, that's a lot of mental stack for the opponent to deal with. And they're gonna have to do a lot of labbing to find specific and consistent ways to get around all of our shenanigans. And people are not willing to lab. You know what I'm saying? And so, if Can't Stop the Train can get other tournament players to whine about Sub-Zero just by putting them in the chamber, you can get your victories too by placing online opponents in the cryogenic chamber. And it is my privilege and honor to present this to you. I hope that you take away a lot of things. I hope that this video was very informative. I hope it was as informative as it was lengthy and, you know, verbose. I apologize for all that, but I wanted to make sure I got this out. Because I could have split this up into a series of videos, but no, I'm not doing that. I want to give this Christmas gift out to everybody for the holiday season. Have a merry holiday season. Have a very happy new year. If I don't get to release another video before then, I will catch all you guys later. Let me know how you feel in them comments. 1.